You know that smell of desperation mixed with expensive perfume at 2 a.m. in a VIP lounge? That's what hit me when Victoria Caldwell's mink coat slammed into my chest. Not handed to me thrown, like I was some kind of furniture with a pulse. My name's Dominic Pierce, but everyone calls me Dom. I'm 47, ex-Marine, and at that moment I was wearing the black security uniform of Club Apex, standing behind the velvet rope like a well-dressed piece of equipment. That coat weighed about 10 pounds and reeked of cold air and that metallic scent of new money that hasn't learned manners yet. "Check my coat, soldier boy," she sneered, not even looking at me. She was too busy admiring herself in the reflection of the DJ booth window. "And don't drop it this time. Last week you nearly damaged the lining." I caught the coat because 20 years in the Corps teaches you to catch whatever's thrown at you. My fingers dug into the fur hard enough to leave impressions. I tagged it with ticket number 666. If she noticed the irony, she was too busy checking her teeth for lipstick. Let me back up here. 2 years ago, I wasn't catching coats. I was the guy throwing them. I owned the Iron Horse, 3 blocks down from where I now stood in this monkey suit. It was a real club, not some glitter palace for trust fund babies. We served Marines on leave, construction workers blowing their paychecks, and honest working folks who knew how to tip and treat staff like human beings. The Iron Horse had character, dark wood, American flags, classic rock on the sound system. We didn't let people like Victoria Caldwell through the door because they treated my staff like servants in some medieval kingdom. I had a strict no jerks policy, and Victoria was the patron saint of jerks. I remember the first time I denied her entry. She looked at me like I'd spoken in tongues. "Do you know who my husband is?" She'd hissed, her face turning that blotchy shade of rich person indignation. "I don't care if your husband is the president," I told her. "You're not on the list." That was my first mistake. Not the denial that felt great. My mistake was underestimating how much free time a bored trophy wife with a vindictive streak really has. Now there I was at Club Apex, watching her hold court on a leather banquet that probably hadn't been cleaned since the Clinton administration. She was snapping her manicured fingers at Sarah Walsh, a 23-year-old Marine's daughter, putting herself through law school and didn't deserve to be treated like hired help in some Victorian drama. "More ice," Victoria barked, "and tell the bartender this vodka tastes like tap water. I want the bottle opened in front of me." I adjusted my earpiece. "Sarah," I murmured into the mic, keeping my voice flat, "just bring her the bucket. Don't engage. She's looking for a fight to spice up her Tuesday." Sarah looked over at me, grateful. I gave her a microscopic nod. That's what I was now, the shadow manager, the ghost in the machine. Management at Club Apex kept me around because I knew where all the bodies were buried, literally in terms of plumbing disasters and metaphorically regarding the liquor license loopholes. They thought I was broken, just happy to have a paycheck after my world imploded. They didn't know I was taking notes. Victoria laughed, a sound like glass breaking in a dishwasher. She was leaning into some guy who definitely wasn't her husband Elliot. Kid looked like a personal trainer or maybe a brand ambassador for some tequila company, with hair so gelled it could survive a hurricane. She ran her hand down his arm right there under the lights, making sure everyone could see. "God's service here has gone downhill," she announced loudly, making sure her voice carried to my station. "It's just so pedestrian." Ever since they started hiring the refugees from that failed club down the street. She meant me. She knew I could hear her. It was part of the ritual, her weekly reminder that she'd won and I'd lost. I looked down at the fur coat in my hands. For a second, I imagined taking a pair of shears to it. Just a small cut, a loose thread that would unravel the whole thing over time, but that was amateur hour. I wasn't interested in ruining a coat. I was interested in ruining the person wearing it. I hung the coat with exaggerated care, smoothing down the fur. "Enjoy it while it lasts, ma'am." I whispered to the empty coat check room. The bass dropped, shaking the floor. I checked my watch, 2:15 a.m. In exactly 4 hours, some very specific paperwork I'd filed months ago was going to trigger a purchase order. Victoria thought this was just another night of her reign. She had no idea she was dancing on a trapdoor, and I was about to oil the hinges. You need to understand something here. I didn't lose the Iron Horse because of bad business or the economy. I lost it because I bruised a narcissist's ego and she decided burning down my life would be her new hobby. 2 years ago, the Iron Horse was the heart of the downtown district. I'd built it from a rotted-out warehouse into something special. Obsidian bar top, real leather booths, and sound system that could make you feel every note in your chest. I'd mortgaged everything, house, car, my sanity, to build that place. After the night I denied Victoria entry, the whispers started. Nothing loud because women like Victoria don't throw punches. They poison the well. It started with a blind item in the local business blog, which downtown hotspot is actually a front for money laundering. Hint, it rhymes with dire horse. Subtle as a brick but effective. Then came the concerns whispered at charity galas. Elliot Caldwell suddenly pulled his company's corporate account $50,000 a year in guaranteed revenue, gone overnight. When I called his office to ask why, his assistant told me Mr. Caldwell preferred venues that aligned with his family's values. This from a guy who made his fortune data mining teenagers' personal information. The death blow came a month later during my expansion loan negotiations. My investors were nervous but on board. Then the health inspector showed up, not for a routine check, a targeted raid based on an anonymous tip about rat infestations and sewage leaks. There were no rats, no leaks. My kitchen was cleaner than a hospital operating room, but the inspector, some sweaty guy who wouldn't look me in the eye, shut us down for 72 hours pending investigation. In the nightclub business, 72 hours might as well be 72 years. That closed by health department sticker is a scarlet letter you never scrub off. My investors pulled out the next morning. One guy I'd known for 10 years called me personally. "Dom, we love you, but word is the Caldwell family is telling everyone you're under federal investigation. We can't be near that kind of heat." I stood in the middle of my empty club watching dust dance in the emergency lighting. I had $200 in my business account and a mountain of debt I couldn't climb. I lost the lease, lost the equipment, lost my house. I remember seeing Victoria a week after the foreclosure, walking out of some boutique while I was leaving the unemployment office. She saw me, stopped, didn't say anything nasty, she just smiled. Small, tight, satisfied. Then she gave me a little wave like she was shooing away a fly and climbed into her Porsche. That wave broke something in me. Not my spirit, my patience. I was done taking the high road. The high road is for people who have cars. I was walking, so I decided to take the low road, the one that runs right underneath their perfectly manicured lawns. That's when I went dark. Dyed my hair from marine regulation to nondescript brown, stopped shaving every day, bought my clothes at Walmart. Applied for the job at Club Apex, the very place Victoria and Elliot had adopted as their new playground after helping destroy mine. The interview was pathetic. The manager, some guy named Barry who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, barely glanced at my resume. I'd redacted most of my ownership experience, listed myself as bar security and operations. "You look familiar," he said, squinting. "I just have one of those faces." I lied. "Used to work security at a place in Jersey, right?" He said, already losing interest. "Don't steal the towels. Can you start Monday?" For 24 months, I'd been invisible. I'd checked coats, mopped floors, listened to Victoria tell her friends how she'd cleaned up the city's nightlife scene by getting rid of that trashy military bar. She'd confessed her crimes to me dozens of times, thinking I was just another faceless servant. I remember one night, 3 drinks deep, she was in the bathroom telling a friend about calling in so many favors to get that health inspector to my place. "You should have seen his face," she giggled. "He looked like he was going to cry. Poor thing. Some people just aren't built for business." I was in the next stall holding a roll of toilet paper so tight the cardboard tube collapsed. Not built for business. She was right, in a way. I wasn't built for her kind of business, influence peddling, gossip warfare, daddy's money, but I was built for my kind of business. Operations, logistics, patience, and revenge. I'd been saving every tip, reconnecting with old contacts. 2 of my former investors, guys who'd been burned when the Iron Horse went under, guys who'd lost money when Elliot screwed them on separate tech deals. They were angry rich men looking for payback. I pitched them a plan over coffee at a diner at 4 a.m. "We don't buy a club," I told them. "We buy the building it sits on. We buy the debt, we buy the liquor distribution rights, we surround them," and then one asked. "Then," I said, "we evict them from their own playground." While Victoria was upstairs playing Queen of the Castle, I was downstairs playing chess. I wasn't just scrolling my phone during breaks, I was logged into county clerk real estate filings, reading financial disclosures like they were intelligence reports. Club Apex wasn't owned by a person. It was owned by Nightlife Ventures, which was leveraged to some private equity firm that was hemorrhaging money after a bad Vegas expansion. They were looking to liquidate assets to stop the bleeding. And Club Apex was their crown jewel in a very heavy, very sinking crown. I found the notice buried in a bundle of shareholder documents, notice of intent to sell commercial assets. It hadn't been publicized yet. I switched to a secure messaging app and typed 3 words to a contact named Colonel Parker. Green light. Execute. My old commanding officer, James Parker, had done well for himself in civilian life. Real estate development, veteran-owned business contracts, the kind of connections that money can't buy but service can earn. When I'd explained the situation, he'd been very interested in helping a fellow Marine get back on his feet. The paperwork went through fast. DVMB Holdings, Dom's veteran Marine business, a shell company that looked boring enough to fly under anyone's radar. To the casual observer, it was just another real estate investment trust. To me, it stood for what it actually was: payback with compound interest. Saturday night, the night of Elliot's big post-merger celebration. The club was packed, the air thick with cologne and entitlement. But things were off from the start, and I was the reason why. It started with the valet system. Turns out their password was password 123, because security is apparently optional when you're dealing with rich people's cars. I'd made a small adjustment to the VIP list algorithm. I watched from my position as Elliot's Maserati pulled up. He tossed the keys to the valet kid like he was feeding a dog. "I'm sorry, Mr. Caldwell," I heard the kid say through the open door. "The system is flagging this vehicle as restricted." Restricted? Elliot's face went red under the valet lights. "What the hell does that mean?" "Says here, non-payment of parking violations and risk of towing, sir." Elliot Caldwell, the billionaire tech mogul, had to park his own car 3 blocks away and walk back through the slush. When he finally stormed into the lobby, his Italian shoes were stained with road salt and his mood was somewhere south of furious. Inside, I'd tweaked the club's digital service system. Every order from table 1, the Caldwell's permanent spot, got pushed to the bottom of the queue. I watched Victoria wave her empty glass for 15 minutes while Sarah walked right past her to serve a table of tourists drinking beer. "The system keeps glitching," Sarah told Victoria, looking genuinely confused at her tablet screen. "Your orders aren't coming through. This is the VIP section." Victoria shrieked, "Fix it." Sarah just shrugged. I'd slipped her a $100 bill earlier and told her to roll with any technical difficulties tonight. The final touch was Elliot's favorite corner booth, his throne overlooking the peasants. I'd filed a maintenance order citing structural instability in the subfloor. Yellow caution tape blocked it off. Mr. Caldwell, Barry the manager, stammered, wringing his hands. "I'm so sorry. The floor might be sagging. Liability issues." "Where am I supposed to sit?" Elliot demanded. "We have a nice table near the kitchen." Elliot's face went purple. Victoria looked like she'd swallowed something sour. The king and queen of the city ended up standing awkwardly near the bar, getting jostled by people who'd paid a $20 cover charge. I moved through the club like a ghost, watching their night fall apart piece by piece. They were too busy complaining to notice that someone else was pulling the strings. Around midnight, I got the text I'd been waiting for: deed recorded, transfer complete. You own 440 West Street? Congrats, Marine. I walked to the break room and changed. Out of the security uniform, into the clothes I'd brought in my gym bag. Dark jeans, black button-down, and most importantly, my marine dress blue jacket with all my ribbons and decorations. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. The jacket still fit. 20 years later, and it still fit. I walked back onto the floor. The music was loud, the crowd was rowdy, but I moved through it all with mission focus. Target acquired. Victoria was at the bar arguing with the bartender about the lack of premium vodka. Some supply issue, apparently. She was gesturing wildly with that mink coat draped over her arm when she saw me approaching. Her face went confused first, then annoyed. "Excuse me, this area is restricted. You need to." She stopped, really looked at me for the first time in 2 years. The uniform, the bearing, the way I was standing like I owned the place, because I did. "Good evening, Mrs. Caldwell," I said, my voice carrying the kind of authority that comes from leading Marines in combat zones. "We need to talk." "Who are you?" she demanded, but there was uncertainty in her voice now. "Staff Sergeant Dominic Pierce, United States Marine Corps, retired, owner of this establishment as of 6 p.m. tonight, and you, ma'am, are trespassing." The words hit her like a physical blow. Her mouth opened and closed, but nothing came out. Elliot pushed through the crowd, sweating in his expensive suit. "What's going on here? Who is this?" "This," I said, not taking my eyes off Victoria, "is the guy whose business you helped destroy 2 years ago, the owner of the Iron Horse, the man you underestimated." Recognition dawned on Elliot's face. "You're the soldier boy, yes, sir. The guy who wouldn't let your wife turn my place into her personal playground. The guy you had investigated, audited, and shut down because I had the nerve to treat her like the civilian she is instead of the princess she thinks she is." I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folded document. "This is a notice of trespass. You're both banned from this establishment, effective immediately. Permanent ban, no appeal process." "You can't do this," Victoria found her voice again. "I have membership rights. You have nothing." I cut her off. "Check your access, ma'am. This is private property now, and you're not welcome here." The crowd was gathering, phones coming out, the kind of scene that would be all over social media in minutes. Victoria's face was cycling through emotions like a slot machine: confusion, rage, embarrassment, and finally fear. "This is illegal." Elliot tried. "We'll sue you for everything," with what I asked. The same lawyers who helped you destroy a veteran-owned business. The same connections that got a health inspector to file false reports. Good luck with that, sir. My lawyers are Marines too, and we've got very long memories. I turned to address the crowd, my voice carrying over the music. Ladies and gentlemen, Club Apex is under new management. Effective immediately, all active military and veterans drink free on Sunday nights. All military families eat free on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. The crowd erupted. Cheers. Applause. The kind of genuine enthusiasm you can't fake. I looked back at the Caldwells. Victoria was clutching her mink coat like a security blanket, mascara starting to run. Elliot was calculating damage control, probably already thinking about how to spin this in the business press. Tommy, I called to my security team leader, the one-legged Marine who'd taken the worst of Victoria's abuse over the past 2 years. Please escort these civilians off the premises. They're relieved of duty here. Tommy grinned, the first real smile I'd seen from him in months. Roger that, boss. This way, folks. As they were led toward the door, Victoria turned back one last time. You're still just staff, she screamed, her voice cracking. You're nothing. Ma'am, I said, straightening my dress blue jacket in the Marines. We learned that respect is earned, not inherited. And tonight, you just learned the difference. The heavy door closed behind them with a satisfying thump. I walked behind the bar, picked up a bottle of bourbon, good American whiskey, none of that imported stuff, and poured shots for the house. Semper Fi, I called out. Semper Fi came back from a dozen voices in the crowd. I didn't stay for the celebration. I had work to do. A club to run, a staff to take care of, and a community to build. The kind of place where people treated each other with respect, where service meant something, where working folks could have a drink without getting looked down on by people who'd never earned a thing in their lives. I walked up to the VIP section, my VIP section now, and sat down in the booth I'd been protecting all night. I pulled out my phone and opened a text thread with my old unit. Mission accomplished, I typed. The Eagle has landed. Iron Horse Redux is operational. My feet were killing me. These dress shoes weren't made for 12-hour shifts. But for the first time in 2 years, I wasn't just surviving, I wasn't just getting by. I was home. The music played on, but it was different now. Better, like the whole place could breathe again. I checked my watch, 3:30 a.m. In a few hours, I'd start interviewing for new management positions. Tommy was getting promoted to operations manager. Sarah was getting a scholarship fund for law school, and the Iron Horse was coming back, bigger and better than before. Sometimes the good guys do win. You just have to be patient enough, smart enough, and tough enough to outlast the bad guys. 20 years in the Marines teaches you a lot of things, but the most important lesson is this: mission first, Marines always. The next week, I found out what happened to the Caldwells. Elliot's board of directors had called an emergency meeting after the video of their ejection went viral. Turns out investors don't like their executives being permanently banned from establishments for behavior unbecoming. Victoria's social media following dropped by 80% overnight. Amazing how fast fair weather friends disappear when the wind changes direction. But that's not the real victory. The real victory was watching Tommy walk taller every day, seeing Sarah ace her law school entrance exam with the weight of financial stress off her shoulders, watching the club become what I'd always wanted it to be, a place where people who work hard for their money could relax without some trust fund princess treating them like the hired help. We kept the name Club Apex, but everyone started calling it Dom's Place. I didn't mind. Names don't make the place, the people do, and we had the right people. 6 months later, Victoria tried to get in one more time. Different hair, different clothes, thought she could blend in with the regular crowd. Tommy spotted her at the door. She didn't even make it past the rope. Ma'am, he told her, standing proud in his manager's suit, you're still on the list. Have a good evening. She drove away in her Porsche. We went back to work. Colonel Parker stopped by every few weeks to check on his investment. Always ordered the same thing, bourbon, neat, American-made. Always left a $20 tip for Sarah, who was killing it in law school and working part-time as our legal advisor. You know what the best part of this operation was? He asked me one night, nursing his whiskey. What's that, sir? We didn't just win, he said. We built something better. He was right. Revenge is sweet, but building something that lasts, that's better than sweet. That's justice. Semper Fi indeed. So next time someone throws a coat at you and expects you to thank them for the privilege, remember this story. Remember that everyone deserves respect. Everyone has a breaking point. And sometimes the guy in the uniform knows a lot more about strategy than the person giving the orders. Remember that patience isn't weakness, it's ammunition. And remember that the best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting ahead. Because you never know when that staff member might just be your next commanding officer. You never know when the person you're stepping on has spent 20 years learning how to fight back. And you never know when treating people with basic human dignity might be the difference between keeping your kingdom and losing it to someone who earned theirs the hard way.